to do a live because we're going to Disneyland next week. So 1 week from tonight, we will be, right?
Yeah, on our way to Anaheim.
From tonight, we will be in Anaheim. So want to do a live event and have some fun talking about Disneyland a little bit. It'll be our manyth. I don't remember exactly how many. Fifth?
Fourth, I think.
Fourth trip this year to Disneyland Resort in California. We are obviously very big fans of the Disneyland Resort in California. It is my favorite resort. I believe it is your favorite resort as well. Disneyland is your favorite.
Yeah, Disneyland is very, very quickly became my favorite. I spent a couple years going to Disneyworld when my kids were younger, and after going to Disneyland for the second time, I was like completely head over heels in love with Disneyland. I love how convenient it is, how easy it is to move around from park to park. And yeah, the vibe is just a lot more relaxed and chill. So I'm really, hands down, Disneyland is my favorite.
I'm just looking at my laptop off to the side here, so I'm just looking what we have over here just to see if things are working. I'll make sure it's all working here. That looks like it's us.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's working. Yeah, sorry. First time doing this on a YouTube live. I've used some other platforms for lives like Facebook and Instagram, but I haven't used YouTube before, so just getting used to it. Also, there's a little bit of a delay for those bad words, apparently. So it's like I'm glancing at myself, but that's what I did a few seconds earlier. So, all right. So because we're going to Disneyland, and Disneyland is our favorite place. So if you haven't been to Disneyland in California, you've only been to Disney World, you really need to get your way to Disneyland. It is not... The biggest reason I hear people say they're not going to Disneyland is they just say, well, but it's just like the small version of Disney World, so the sequel is better in this case, so we should just go to Disney World. Disney World is twice the size of Disneyland, but Disneyland is the original. Disneyland is the only one Walt saw. It's the only one he actually worked on and saw himself in person, like physically worked on. There's a charm to it that is different from Disney World. There's a vibe that's very different. It's completely different. So it's a completely different kind of vacation. So just from the sense of the feel, which I can't really describe or really tell you about, the feel is very different. It feels like being in Disney World feels very different from being in Disneyland. And for me, I like how Disneyland feels better than I like how Disney World feels. Is that kind of the same?
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like Disney World is a marathon or a race, a sprint, and Disneyland is a leisurely stroll through a park. I feel like Disney World, there's this sense of urgency because there is so much to cover. There's so many different parks, so many different things that you feel like you have to cover everything all at once. But at Disneyland, there's not as much, but it's not really a negative. You're able to pace yourself. The food is also very different.
Yeah, really good food out there. And part of it is because most of the people going to Disney World are tourists, not from Florida. And a huge chunk of the people that you're going to see at Disneyland are locals or relatively local. They just drove in, which I think also contributes to just kind of more relaxed atmosphere. The people who are there weren't just on a plane for 3 hours with a couple kids and have been dragging kids through an airport, onto an airport tram, into an Uber, checking into a hotel, onto a bus, and into a theme park. Those people are already fried by the time they get to Disney World. But in Disneyland, since most of the people came from much closer, they're just more relaxed while they're there. They're not burnt out. And if the weather isn't great, if it's raining that day or if it's cold, like, 60 degrees, the locals stay home and they'll just figure, well, we'll just go back another day. No one's pressing, no one's pushing. If they miss something, it's fine. They'll just see it another week. So, that sense that you have to win Disney World doesn't really exist in Disneyland. There's no race going on. There's no competition.
Yeah, I feel like the weather is a lot nicer than Florida.
No humidity.
I don't enjoy the humidity at all. I refuse to go to Disney World during the summer. But we've been to Disneyland in August and May, I believe. And it was, hot. I think we got to 90s, but it was still really, once you got to the shade, you could feel a lot cooler, and there were enough things to do inside buildings that it didn't feel too bad. But I know that if it was super humid like it is in Florida, I would not have enjoyed myself.
Also, at Disneyland, you can walk to everything. So there is a monorail, and you can take it. But what's that? Monorail. Is that a song? Does anyone else know that song? Or is that just your song?
Wrong park.
Okay. But there is one. You don't need it. You can get around without it. Just walking around, you can get to it. So if you've just been to Disney World, I'm going to pause because that probably baffled you. Yes, you just walk to everything in Disneyland. You don't take a bus. You don't take a Skyliner. You don't do anything. You don't take a minivan. You don't do any of that stuff. Everything is walkable in just a few minutes. So both parks, literally, if you walked out of Disneyland Park and walked to California Adventure Park, it'd take you about a minute to go from one gate to the other, and about 5 minutes to walk to where the resorts are, and to where downtown Disney is, which is their version of Disney Springs. So it's a much easier trip because figuring out transportation is a huge part, and taking transportation is a huge part of any Disney World vacation. You are trying to manipulate the transportation to work right for you, and you just don't have to do that at Disneyland at all. And I think that probably contributes to the relaxation. No one's dreading getting on that 11 p.m. bus standing room only where you're going to make 15 stops before it gets to your resort door. You're just going to walk yourself out whenever you want.
Well, and I feel like in Disney World, it's almost necessary to stay in in one of the Disney properties in order to be able to get to the parks a little bit easier. But even when you stay in property, there's still a lot of buses and modes of transportation to get to your final destination. At Disneyland, even if you stay at one of their Good Neighbor hotels, you are no more than like a 10-minute walk. Yeah. And it's an easy walk. Easy. It's a pleasant walk.
It's actually nice. You kind of almost enjoy the walk, because Anaheim, Disneyland is in a neighborhood. Disneyland is in a city. So you just take the crosswalk. You just wait for the light.
Yeah, there's shops, there's pharmacies, there's a Walgreens, so you can stop by and get something on your way to your hotel room.
It's just plopped right in the city.
It's easy and simple, and our kids were able to walk back to the hotel room if they were tired during the day, and they were back in the park and an hour or two later. So it's just I just like the ease of it, and I don't think that you compromise anything by getting that ease of transportation. And
so a week from today, we're going to be out there. Obviously, we're going to be posting a lot of things while we're there. We're going to be posting stuff before we go to short videos and things like that, to talk about packing, how to pack for these trips, and never see baggage claim ever again. You have to still pull off everything you need for a Disney vacation. So we'll have some stuff about packing, some stuff about other planning things, maybe trying to make some last minute dinner reservations before we travel. And then once we're there, we're going to be shooting stuff all in and around the parks, some of it live, some of it just recording throughout the day, and show you everything we can. So now's a good time to subscribe, because this is about to be real fun starting next week. We won't be in our basement shooting a video. We'll be in the parks trying to help you with stuff. So when you travel. So
we're also going to be putting together a couple quick Disney bounding outfits. So hopefully you'll tag along to see what we decide to wear and see if it works out.
Yes. See if anyone recognizes us in the park. The last time we were out there, a cast member, we were doing a Wally Eva
Eve.
thing, and we were just walking. We weren't even on our way anywhere, I don't think. I think we were just kind of strolling with nothing, no intent, which is something you really should do in the parks. And you can really do at Disneyland, is to just stroll with no real intent, just have a good time and walk around. And we were just kind of walking, chatting, and a cast member stopped us, and was so impressed and excited about the Disney bounding we had done that they asked, like, they just said, "What ride do you need to go on?" And we said Incredicoaster. We'd only been on it like 3 times that day, so we clearly needed to go on it again. And they just walked us over to Incredicoaster and put us right on the ride. And we had a great conversation going over. So curious if we can get. That's our baseline now, is to get. We got a lightning lane out of it, so we got to see if we can get another lightning lane out of it, or at least some smiles from cast members when they recognize what you're doing, which is really cool when they recognize your outfits, your characters. So
Yeah, I have an outfit idea, but it's not working out exactly as I was hoping. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to push through with it or just do something different and wait on that one for a little bit.
Yeah. So we said that we had kind of a fun Disneyland quiz. So we are going to do it this way. We have paddles like this fancy thing right here, and we're going to write answers on it. And these questions, they're not, some of them are kind of typical kind of questions, but they're all over the place. We're not trying to guess each other's answers. We're just writing down our own answers. So some of these questions she came up with, some of them I did. But we're really just curious what the other person thinks. This isn't like a guessing game. Maybe another video we'll do like a guess to see how well I know her. Like if I asked her what ride would she go on first, or what her favorite thing is, and see if I can guess it. But this is just some kind of
He'll be able to guess
stranger questions. I feel like I would do well
knowing
guessing yours, but I think you'd probably do well on mine too. So let's jump into this here. Let's jump into our questions, and then we will write our answers, and then we will hold them up and then chat about them and see how many of them we get the same. I'm going to jump out of order just a little bit to start.
What's the prize?
Pride, which I believe has like a rewards value of 1 Shroot Buck, I think.
Per Pride Buck?
Per Pride Buck, yeah,
Got
let's rated that. Okay, so start off simple here. Haunted Mansion or Haunted Mansion with the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. So if you don't know, every beginning of the fall they remake the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, not in Florida, only in Disneyland, to look like it's taken over by all the characters from Nightmare Before Christmas. So we've been on both versions, so we're going to see which one we like better. Alright, I've got mine. You ready? Let's see. You ready? Hold it up.
Boop. Nightmare.
Whoa. Can we even see that? There we go. Yeah, we can read that. Nightmare. Alright, so she went with Nightmare. I went with original, so tell me why you like tell me why you like Nightmare.
It looks so pretty. When you go into the big room and all the pumpkins are like in shape of like a mountain or something. It's just, I don't know, it's just whimsical and pretty, and I love it.
It is very pretty. I certainly enjoyed it. It's very neat to do. They only do it in Disneyland, so you got to go there to see it. Coolest part to me was the ride stalled briefly while we were on it the last time, and we were stalled right next to Sally, who was perched on a headstone. So like Sally was as close as like the camera is. So for like 2 minutes, I could just sit there with my phone and play around with the settings and try to get the perfect photo of Sally. So that was great. That was almost enough to make me vote for it. But
yeah,
I'm gonna go back to the original.
Yeah,
but
they did the giant gingerbread house that they put in the hall.
Yeah, in the dining room scene. So yeah, so it is, both are amazing.
Yeah, so you can be wrong on this one.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. You have to get rid of one ride. What is going away?
In what park?
In either park. Disneyland Park or California Adventure Park. Those are the 2 parks out in Disneyland. Disneyland Park is very much like Magic Kingdom, for those who are used to Florida. California Adventure, probably closest to Hollywood Studios, but there isn't really a good comp to California Adventure in Florida. Hollywood Studios is about as close as you would get by the intent of the park, but it's not really the same stuff. So if you had to get rid of a ride, what would you get rid of?
Okay. I don't know if I'm getting the name right.
That's okay.
Also, I'm a really bad speller, so no points taken off. Okay.
Ready? Mm-hmm. Turn around. All right. I have got the Matterhorn.
And I have, I think it's like Jesse's.
Oh, yeah. Just
Roundup,
Just
Critter Roundup, Carousel.
Yes.
It's
something like that.
There's like the theming in that is awful.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, Matterhorn I say with love, because it was a groundbreaking ride, metal coaster.
There's a
Absolutely
basketball
groundbreaking
court in there.
Yeah,
sir.
I mean, it is amazing, and it's really cool to look at from a distance because it's the biggest thing, I think. Maybe the tallest thing in the park. I don't know. Maybe the tower is tall. I'm not sure, but
it's cheaper than going to the chiropractor.
but it is an old ride, and yeah, you either get an adjustment for it or you have the need for an adjustment after you get off of it. So I just know that I'm never going to get on it again. That being said, the most I don't know why I forgot in California Adventure Park is Goofy's Flying Circus. I think I don't know what is that called.
Flying School.
Goofy Sky School. Why did I say Goofy Sky School? Which is the most horrifying ride I've ever been on. I'm not saying that as a joke. Seriously, if you want to actually be afraid for your life. Okay, so as long as we're getting rid of things, let's talk about adding something. Add something from Disney World. Now we're going to narrow this just the tiniest bit. You can't add an entire park. Like you can't just say Epcot or Animal Kingdom. You could add a land. So as big as a land, like saying World Showcase or something like that, or Avatar, Pandora, or something like that. Or Dino Land, which is going away. You could say a land, but you can't just say a whole park. So what that's in Disney World would you put in Disneyland and then feel like Disneyland just got even better?
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Boom. All right. I have got Epcot's World Showcase. So that's kind of a neighborhood. That's the different countries. So that's the different countries. I love the food over there. I love all the designs, the architecture, the buildings from the different countries. I'd also love to see if they had different countries if they put it over there. What countries might they do? I don't need them to do the same countries. But I would be very happy if I could have that Epcot section in Disneyland. What about you guys too? We had the same one.
It's the best thing.
It's the best thing. And that would include, because World Showcase in Disney World has the Remy Ratatouille ride.
That's
which
true.
I think is the best, in my opinion, is the best Disney ride.
And it also has the Donald Duck, the Three Caballeros boat ride.
So if you include all that, the highly underrated ride at Disney World, you got to get on the one ride inside the pyramid there in the Mexico Pavilion. You got to go on that ride.
That's one of my favorites. Amazing. It's like my silly swings.
What ride would Wally love the most? If you were in the parks with Wally, you got to get on this
California
ride.
Parks, right?
Yeah, only Disneyland. Either park, but only Disneyland answers. What would Wally get a kick out of? There isn't a Wally ride. There should be. There's a Wally game, though, on Pixar Pier. So that's pretty cool. But there should be a Wally ride. But I've got mine ready. I know what I want. This would make me very happy to bring Wally for this one. This is why I said it's kind of a fantastical quiz for Disneyland, because obviously this is not reality, but it'd be nice if it was.
Okay.
You ready? Turn around. Boom. Silly swings. Do you have that?
Silly Symphony Swings.
We have the same answer on a question about bringing a character onto a live ride. Silly swings. Yes. So I know why I said silly swings. Why did you say silly swings?
Oh,
You'd love it.
he would. It kind of reminds me of the scene where he's flying around in space with Eve with the like. But I think that he would
leaning back, like touching the stars, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
touching the rings.
I thought about putting him in Space Mountain because it just feels really like spacey and like.
Yeah.
But I feel like Wally doesn't like fast, scary rides. No, I think he would like. Yeah, I think he would. And the music, I just think he would. Yeah, that one.
I think he would. Yeah.
Although I think he would really, really, really enjoy going on Nemo's submarine.
The submarine?
Thing.
Oh, going underwater, not a place where he usually go.
He's never been underwater. So I think
I'm not even actually. Has he seen water?
The
pool on the deck of the boat, but I'm not sure he saw much water in his Earth life.
Probably some like dirty puddles of acid rain.
Dream job at Disneyland.
Ooh.
So this is a park job specifically. We're saying a park job in the park. And as far as dream job, we're taking money out of it. So I know you say, oh, well, I would love this job because it's the highest paying job running the parks. And no, we're taking the salary out of it. Dude. I have a couple answers, so I got to think about which one I want to write down. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Yeah, I think so. I got a few, but I think that's the one.
It's a dream job, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we're ready? Mm-hmm. Boom. Tour guide. Maleficent. That's perfect. That's perfect.
What?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. I'm only
in dragon form.
In dragon form, yes. You can be in the parades. I'm only just a little bit worried about your budding relationship with Evil Queen, if she were to see this video. I put tour guide. I had a couple that I thought would be cool. I mean, driving the train would be just kind of amazing since it was such Walt's passion was those trains. So that would be really neat to say you were a train conductor at Disneyland. But tour guide would be cool just because I like knowing fun facts about things and then seeing people kind of amazed at learning something new. I love the experience of telling someone something they didn't know. So I think it'd be exciting to be a tour guide, kind of get that experience over and over again. Although I will say security at night when the park is empty and you're just there wandering through your own little section of the park by yourself, that would be scary in the most wonderful way.
I would also take take care of.
Oh yeah, the Disneyland cats.
Disneyland cats, I would take care of those.
We've seen one. We saw one of the mythical Disneyland cats on the Jungle Cruise.
It was like already nighttime because it was dark.
Yeah, which is actually why Jungle Cruise Skipper was in my top 3 of jobs. But yeah, we saw a Disneyland cat. So if you don't know about it, go Google Disneyland cats. It's fascinating. It's a thing. Absolutely a thing. And they're rarely seen, so it was really cool to see one.
Do you think there's like quality control for the bread factory in San Francisco?
Yeah, a tester.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Yeah, tester for
bread test for the Baymax bread.
Yes.
Wave to your Baymax back there.
Hi, baby. Oh.
The Baymax back there, that's stained glass. She made that. So just pointing that out. You can have that in your home too.
No, you can't.
It's ours, I guess. This one's, again, just Disneyland. Park hopper or lightning lane. You can only have one. The ticket that gets you the ability to bounce back and forth between either park as many times as you want all day, or the one that gets you the lightning lane access where you can get on rides faster.
Can I ask
you
a
you can have
follow-up
both.
question?
You can have both, and we often have both. But if you could only have one, which one do you want? I know which one I want. And it's the one I recommend to my clients as well for Disneyland. And it's not the one I recommend for clients in Disney World. It's opposite. In Florida, I recommend the opposite one in Disneyland from what I recommend for Disneyland because it's just too different.
Okay.
I hope she puts down the one that I did because we only got one of them for this trip. So I'm hoping it's the one that she is going to be happy that I got for us.
Okay.
Ready? Hopper.
Yeah.
Hopper, yeah, Hopper. Hopper is the best, I think, for Disneyland because the parks are right across the way from each other. So sometimes it's actually a shorter walk to a ride in the other park than it is to a ride in the back of the park that you're already in. So when you're looking at like standby waits for lines to get on rides and how long you're gonna have to wait, don't even think of it as being in two separate parks. Just think of it as one park.
Yeah.
Like, this ride doesn't have that long of a wait. Just walk over there and walk back. You just throw your ticket and get right back in the
There's
park.
been
So that's
times where we've walked to the other park just because we had a taste for something that's on the other
a
park.
snack or a drink or something, and
Yeah.
then we just walk right on back with it. So it really is kind of like one
Yeah.
park with a intermission. as you
Honestly,
walk
I
past.
do think of it as one
big
big park.
Yeah.
And we've had both hopper tickets, non-hopper tickets. We've had genie and non-genie tickets. And out of all of them, I think not being able to go from park to park is the one that I dislike the most.
Yeah.
So as much as I love genie, if I can only have one, it's going to be the hopper.
And it's my opposite reaction from Disney World. If someone can only have one, I recommend the lightning lanes. And for kind of the inverse reason, like we said, transportation is a huge part of your time and your energy in Disney World. So hopping from one park to another in Disney World means getting in line, waiting for a bus, a Skyliner, an Uber, paying for it if you're doing the Uber, then getting there and getting back into the park again. It's a process to go from one park to hopping takes a lot of time and energy to do. So for Disney World, I just say get the lightning lane. It's crowded down there. There's lots of people there. Get the lightning lane, skip the ride, skip the lines, and just do one park a day, unless
Especially depending on the size of your group, it can eat up a whole hour to
Just
go from one
moving.
park to another.
Yeah. So that's my recommendation. What do we got here? Wow. Then I'm going to write. No, I'm not going to write that.
Okay, what's the next question?
All right. I need your help. Come quick. Which character would you most like to turn around and realize they were talking to you in the park? You heard someone say, come quick, I need your help. And you turn around and there's a character there reaching out their hand. They want you to come on an adventure with them. Which character would you want that to be? So many good ones for this. There's so many good ones. Oh, it's a tough answer, but I'm gonna go this way. Oh. Got it.
Got it.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
And flip it around. What you got? I got Loki, the variant version. And you got Baymax with a picture.
Can you just imagine me running around with Baymax to the park? I don't care what we're doing, but and we kind of run the same.
I'm Baymax. I need your help. Come quick. It's a furry baby stuck in a tree.
You should never see me again.
It's a furry Disneyland baby cat stuck in a tree. Furry baby.
Me and Baymax rescuing all the Disneyland cats.
I would want it to be Loki. Loki's my favorite, but specifically Loki. I would want the variant Loki. I'd want to go on adventures with Loki.
What was one of your other options that you thought?
Indiana Jones.
Really?
Would be a good one. Yeah. Sometimes I know the characters in Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars area, will take you on adventures. But no, Loki was one. Indiana Jones was up there.
Moana was my second.
Yeah, Moana was on my list too.
Just because I thought it would. I mean, like.
Although I was afraid she'd take me on a boat, and I don't really do boats. Strangely enough, my favorite Disney character is someone who's addicted to water, and I'm terrified of water. But that's a whole other matter. All right. Best and worst princess to spend a full day at the Disney parks with? Who would you not want to spend your day with? Let's go with not first. Well, yeah, let's just divide it. So one side is not, or yes and no. Who would you not want to have tagging along? Which princess would you not want to have tagging along with you all day? All right, then. I would think so.
Are you answering both?
Yeah, I'm answering both. All right, I got mine. It's a tough one. This is tough. There's a few answers for. Actually, I only really have one answer for no, but there's a few good ones for yes.
Okay.
Are you ready? Mm-hmm. And turn. So you see them. That's what we got. Now we're gonna turn so I can see them. Yes was Tiana for me. Tiana, I would say yes because she knows a lot of great musicians, and you'd be fed very well that day. Almost the opposite is why I said no on Ariel, because I really, really love the lobster nachos at Lamplight Lounge, and I don't think she would let me get away with ordering any seafood.
She doesn't enjoy a little crustacean on the
No,
side.
which is why, personally, I wanted to see the sequel to Little Mermaid, because I feel like it would be a time of economic disaster in the kingdom as their lifeblood of their economy was crashed by the new princess who said you couldn't eat fish anymore. So that's what I got. What do you got?
For yes, I have Rapunzel because I think that, after being cooped up in her tower for so many years, she'd
be a blast.
Yeah. And, we wouldn't be able to have a lantern festival at Disneyland yet. But I think she would really enjoy the fireworks, and every ride she would go on would just
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she would just have so much fun, and she wouldn't be afraid to go on any of the thrill rides.
Sky School with you.
Yeah. And I think she would love the parades. It reminds me of in the movie when they're doing the festival or whatever.
Yeah.
I think she would really enjoy the parades and stuff.
Yeah,
and for no, I went with Aurora, Sleeping Beauty, because she would just sleep through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And also she's kind of the most boring princess. And the only thing that's good about that movie is the villain. So
yeah. What villain is that again? Your favorite.
I'm not saying a lot.
Your favorite. All right. We have one more question.
Ooh.
And we're both just getting over cold, so plenty of coughs. But one more question. This one, I thought of this question the other day, and as I sit here now, I still don't know what answer I'm going to write down. I still don't know. And I'd probably write down a different answer every single day. Kind of like when someone asks you what your favorite song is. It depends on the day. What ride today, if magic could be had, what ride today would you want to take Walt on? If Walt got to join you in the park, if he got to see what Disneyland looked like today, he got to spin around and look at what he created and what it's like today, and he said, take me on a ride, what ride would you want to show? And that's actually where I get the trick on what I think my answer is. What ride would you want to show Walt versus what ride would you want to experience with Walt?
Yeah.
And that's where I get stuck on my answer, is kind of how to answer it, but you answer it however you want. But that's... You're going to be on a ride and Walt's going to be sitting next to you. Which ride do you think would be the best for that? And I've been thinking about it for a day, and I'm still torn as if it was actually some kind of... Like I'm never going to get that option, that choice, but very torn.
I have two answers. I'm gonna pick two things because
I'm gonna think about it for no. I think I have my pick, but I'm gonna give it one more moment to think about. This is a tough. Why did I come up with this one? This is a tough one.
I kept two answers because I didn't want to pick.
Okay. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What ride would we want to take Walt on if we could? Ready, turn. What we got?
Though I might be wrong about one of my answers.
Okay. We don't have the same ones. So
No.
I was curious if we were going to end up with the same one. Especially since you're writing down two. I
Yeah.
thought we were going to have an overlap of at least one of them. So, all right. So
Defend
I only have one.
your wrong answer.
Yeah, Small World is my answer. And this went down to, what ride would I want to show him versus what I'd like to experience with him. And that I'm not sure I could be happier than sitting in that little boat with Walt, going through his Small World. And I think I just imagine hearing a bunch of little amazing anecdotes about particular characters or animatronics or whatever, but I would
You're a
be
World
amazing
Fair
to watch that.
Yeah.
It would be amazing to that's one where I put it on the grounds of that's where I would want to experience that with Walt. In terms of wanting to show Walt something, that would be my next answer. My next answer would have been Haunted Mansion. I wanted to show him Haunted Mansion. But you have
the reason why my answers are correct is I went with Pirates of the Caribbean because if I'm not mistaken, I think he was able to see a lot of the stuff that was being made for the ride, but he wasn't around when it actually opened. But it was something that he did see a lot of parts of. And I think I would love for him to see that it was completed and that it's still one of the most popular and beloved, and that the technology is still relevant and that it still works. Like, you created this because he had a hand on, like he had his hands all over that project, but he never got to see it like open. And then the other one is Radiator Springs, because I feel like it would be showing him how far things have come. And that attraction has, in my opinion, both of what Disneyland does so well, which is thrill ride, like fun rides, but also storytelling. And that, like, Radiator Springs is both things. You get to zoom through a car on hills and, go really fast and feel the wind, but you also get to drive through Radiator Springs and see all of those like beloved characters, and it's so magical. And I think that one of the things that Walt really loved was immersive environments, like to truly feel like, oh my gosh, I am in. And that's exactly what I felt like the first time I was in that ride. I was like it's real. Like this is where they filmed Cars, obviously.
Yeah. That was the funny thing about that ride is that everything is life size.
Yeah.
There, it's striking to see. That
Yeah.
would be a cool one to have Walt on, because for that kind of what you're getting at, I think is Radiator Springs is a really good example of what Walt was teaching people to do in the parks. What Walt was hoping to get out of his Imagineers was that type of ride, that type of storytelling and advancement. So I think he would get on that ride and be like, they were listening.
Yeah.
They were listening to me. I wasn't around to help them make this one, and they still made this the way that I would have wanted it made, with the full story and really getting into the technology of it, but then the thrill ride at the end. And
I honestly think that
they
out of all of the like attractions in California, that's the one I'm not saying that it would be his favorite one, but I think that's the one he would be the most pleased with, as far as like, no, there's nothing I would change, even from, what it looks like outside, how it draws you into Cars Land, how it's part of it,
and feeling like he was almost a part of that ride existing, even though he was gone long before any of those movies came out.
I feel like that's one of the attractions that really hits the mark, and all of what his benchmarks were, and
that lives up to Walt's legacy very well. Well, those are all of our questions. Did you have any other questions that you thought of all of a sudden randomly that you want to throw out there? Or?
No, but I'm surprised we didn't talk about food.
I didn't have any questions about food. Well, we can do this here really quick. When we go out to Disneyland Park, what's the first thing you're going to eat?
Okay.
3, 2, 1, turn around. Meat sticks. Meat sticks. Bengal barbecue meat sticks. It's like our favorite thing there. It's a tradition. We don't stop anywhere. We just walk straight through the park until we get to Bengal barbecue and get our meat sticks and rice.
I love this.
Doesn't matter what time of day. We had them even for breakfast once, because we were like, didn't we have them at like 10:30 in the morning? Because it was like, well, we said this was the first thing we were going to eat, so that's what we did. Meat sticks are great.
But I also love grabbing some Vietnamese iced coffee from the little coffee place in California Adventure, right by San Francisco.
Right, before you cross the bridge.
Yeah.
To get over. There's also a little bit of a pin trading station.
Yeah, there's a pin trading station right next to the coffee place. So even if we forget to mobile order and we have to wait for it, I don't mind so much if I can do a little bit of trading. But
our typical start for California Adventure Park is to walk through the park to get to that coffee spot, get the coffee, check on the pins to see if you want to do some pin trading, then walk across and go to Knickknacks, which is an amazing Pixar store, and then to try to get ourselves on Incredicoaster. That's kind of that's our path. If neither of us said a word, we would both go walk that same direction. I think to do that every time.
And maybe when we're in Disneyland, we can do maybe a live or two and do some pin trading. And if anybody's interested, I will gladly send you one of the pins that we trade for if you want to help us decide what to trade for. I love pin trading, but I don't do it as a real hobby. I don't get exclusive pins I just like doing it for fun.
See what you get. And the other thing that's nice is you usually get a pretty good interaction with one of the cast members too, because some of them are really into the pin trading too. And they'll have good stories about swapping pins with someone, or their favorite pin they've ever seen swapped in. And so that's a good spot too. We had a great pin trading outside of Grizzly Peak in California Adventure Park. We had a great conversation with that person before wandering off, but we did some good pin trading.
Yeah,
with them,
well, actually,
and,
no,
they were like a buddy.
We were no. I don't think there was anything. She didn't have anything that I wanted to trade for, but we ended up chatting with her for 10 minutes or something. She was really nice.
Yeah. I don't remember her name. I think I have it written down in a notepad somewhere.
But seriously, when you're in the parks, talk to the cast members. Most of the people there are just, really friendly and know a lot about the park. So if you have any questions at all, just ask and be nice.
Yeah. And then when you have a good experience with them, go into the Disneyland app that you'll have. At the bottom in there is a button called Cast Compliment, and it's your way to give them a little plug, and they look at that stuff. So that's a really good way to cheer someone up and to
it takes just a minute. It's super easy to do, even if you don't get like their name. If you just kind of remember what location you were at and the date, it's just a really nice way to say thank you for how well they take care of all of the guests.
Yeah, and it's not super specific. So like you'll have the form to fill out is just like, do you remember the cast member's name? And you write it if you know it. But if you don't, you don't. Do you remember the cast member's hometown? Because their ID badges will say their hometown on it. If you know it, you do. If you don't, whatever. And then it'll say, like, what were they doing? Was this Maleficent? Was this someone who was selling popcorn? What job did they do? And then the location in the park. And usually, even with just the last little bits of info, they can go, oh, person selling popcorn over in New Orleans Square at 3:00 on Tuesday, that was this person. And they will track that person down and let them know that they got a cast compliment. So we do that just about every time we're there. Almost every day we post a cast compliment for somebody.
Yeah.
They're all amazing. So, yeah. That's our whole live video. So join us for the next one. I'm sure we'll do more. We'll produce some lives when we're out in the parks next week. So subscribe and watch for that. And then if you missed part of this or you want to go back, it'll just be posted to our page. So you can go back and watch it later as many times as you want to. Watch it all the way through, beginning to end, and just enjoy the whole process. Take these questions, throw them out, icebreaker, dinner with your family. Ask them what ride they want to take Walt on.
Yeah, also tell us what ride you would take Wally on. I want to know what you would take him on.
I want to know if more people agree that it's Silly Swings. That's amazing that we came up with this. And it's not even like a premier ride. It's not like we both said, well, Small World, because it's the, so original and neat. That would be cool. We came up with kind of a deep cut on that. Silly Swings is not a ride that is that particularly iconic, but you love that ride.
Yeah.
Well, you love that ride. You love the swings. So that's it. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll have more stuff for you later. And I hope you enjoyed it. So thanks.
Bye.
Bye.